Good afternoon. Welcome to 30 Frames a Second. I'm your host, Greg Lassiter. We have a great show to you today. For you today, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Sir Thomas Decker, I'm here because I want my mother to come home with my family. My emotions are really sad this year because my mom is not with me. I get really sad when I leave my mom. If I were without my mom, I'm going to be really sad. Living in a church is not easy. Sometimes we have to stay in one little room where we don't make noise. At home, I'm scared when I sleep at home because I think that my mother could get arrested and sent to Guatemala. I also want my sister to be with me because I love her. I also get distracted in school because I think about my mother.
We will share a shackle with you today. We will melt the ice and end ISAP ASAP. Melt the ice, end ISAP ASAP.
Amen.
Te voy a entregar un grillete simbólico y con ello vamos a derretir a ICE y ISAP.
Melt the ice, ISAP, ASAP.
Melt the ice. Melt the ice. Melt the ice. Melt the ice. ISAP, ASAP. 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 Melt the ice.
We're going to read the testimonies of three friends. First, Francisco. I am from a small town in Guatemala. I came to the United States with my son, who is 15 years old. I left my wife, daughter, and grandchildren behind. I feared for the life of my son. The gangs are very violent in the area where we live. They usually take the youngest males and make them work for them, or worse. They also ask for your money.
Me llamo Francisco, vengo de un pequeño pueblo en Guatemala. Vine a los Estados Unidos con mi hijo que tiene 15 años y dejé atrás a mi esposa, a mi hija y a mis nietos. Temo por la vida de mi hijo porque las pandillas son muy violentas en el área donde vivimos. Usualmente toman a los muchachos más jóvenes y los hacen trabajar para ellos, o peor. También nos piden dinero.
When we crossed to the United States, we were detained. I was asked to sign a paper. I did not know what it said. Then they put on an ankle bracelet. They told me that I had to sign into a voluntary ankle monitor program and that I had to keep the ankle bracelet charged at all times. They gave me an extra battery.
Cuando cruzamos a los Estados Unidos fuimos detenidos. Me pidieron que firmara un documento. Yo no sabía qué decía. Firmé y luego me pusieron un grillete en el tobillo. Me dijeron que había firmado para ser parte de un programa voluntario de vigilancia y que siempre tenía que mantener cargada la batería de mi grillete. Me dieron una batería extra.
I have had the bracelet on for a few months now. I have to check in regularly once a month. I also have to change the battery every 15 hours. One time I forgot and a very loud noise went off. I received calls from the agents asking where I was. Now I make sure the alarm does not go off.
Llevo puesto el grillete en el tobillo desde hace algunos meses. Tengo que ir a check-ins a ISAP regularmente, una vez al mes. También tengo que cambiar la batería cada 15 horas. Una vez olvidé hacerlo y empezó a sonar un sonido muy fuerte. De inmediato recibí llamadas de agentes de ICE preguntándome dónde estaba. Por eso ahora siempre me aseguro de que la alarma no suene.
The ankle bracelet is uncomfortable and embarrassing. It feels awkward. I have to be alert because if the battery dies when I am around people at work, I work at a restaurant, a loud alarm starts to sound and people think you have stolen something. It is a burden. To avoid the embarrassment, I take the extra battery with me to work and I remind myself to change it. I hide in a corner, and when no one is around, I change my battery in the restaurant. I do not know when they're going to take the bracelet off.
El grillete que tengo en el tobillo es incómodo y vergonzoso. Se siente muy incómodo. Tengo que estar siempre fijándome, porque si la batería se acaba cuando estoy con la gente que trabajo en un restaurante, suena la alarma bien fuerte. La gente puede pensar que tienes eso porque robaste algo o otra cosa. Es una carga, es un peso. Para evitarme la pena y la vergüenza, traigo la batería extra al trabajo y me acuerdo a mí mismo de cambiarla 2 horas antes. En el restaurante me voy a un rincón solo y cuando no hay nadie cerca, me cambio la batería. No sé cuándo me van a quitar esto.
I have to go to their office once a month. I live in New York State and it takes me over 3 hours to get there, to the Bronx. Last time I went, they gave me a paper to fill out. I need to provide the personal information, name, address, and phone number of 3 contacts. I don't have relatives here. I have one friend, but he's afraid of sharing his personal information. I don't know who to ask.
Tengo que ir a la oficina de ISAP una vez al mes. Yo vivo en el estado de Nueva York y me toma más de 3 horas llegar a la oficina de ISAP en el Bronx. La última vez que fui me dieron un papel para completar. Tengo que darle información personal, el nombre, la dirección y el número de teléfono de 3 contactos. Yo no tengo parientes aquí. Tengo un amigo, pero tiene miedo de compartir su información personal. No sé a quién pedirle esta información.
Our second testimony is from Merlene, who has been in the United States for approximately 7 months. She's reported regularly to her check-ins. However, on one occasion, she was not home for an impromptu visit to her residence by ICE officials. She learned then that she had 3 strikes against her, as they said, but didn't know why.
El siguiente testimonio es de Merlene, que lleva aproximadamente 7 meses en Estados Unidos. Ella va regularmente a sus check-ins. Una vez los agentes de ICE fueron a su casa en un día no anunciado, o sea, no era una visita programada, y no la encontraron. Cuando al día siguiente Merlene fue a un check-in, le dijeron que ella llevaba 3 faltas acumuladas en su contra, pero ella no entendía por qué.
Merlene tells us, they called and I explained what happened, that I had gone just a half a block away from my home and only for a minute. I didn't know that I wasn't allowed to. They made me appear at their office, where they told me that on the days they were checking on me at home, on Wednesdays, I should not leave the house, not even to take out the garbage. They said that was my first strike, and from then on I've spent every Wednesday inside the house. But still, I don't know what 3 strikes they were talking about. Then they said that they were specialized in people surveillance. They made a show of speed dialing my phone number to intimidate me.
Ellos me llamaron y yo les expliqué lo que había pasado, que había salido solo media cuadra de casa por 1 minuto y que no sabía que eso no estaba permitido. Igual me hicieron ir a su oficina al día siguiente. Me dijeron que los días de su visita, los miércoles, no debía salir de casa ni siquiera para botar la basura. Me dijeron que esa era ya la primera vez que fallaba y desde ese día cada miércoles lo he pasado encerrada en casa. No sé cuáles son las 3 faltas y las 3 errores que yo cometí que ellos dicen. Me dicen, la vez que fui, me dijeron que estaban especializados en seguir a la gente y en hacer vigilancia. Y me mostraron cómo marcaba mi teléfono y me hicieron esto para amedrentarme.
I felt as if they were playing with me so that I would despair. Then another agent said, "Madam, sit down. I'm going to put a shackle on you." I was stunned. When I responded that it was unjust, that agent raised his voice and told me that he could not care less about that. I felt completely humiliated. They were not respecting the rules they had imposed on me. They weren't even explaining. Another agent said that they would take the shackle off at the next appointment, as if to dismiss its importance, telling me not to worry since it was less than a month. As if 15 days with a shackle around your ankle, 24 hours a day, was not an eternity. Those weeks went by and ISAP, the agency, did not stay true to their word.
Sentía como si estuvieran jugando conmigo para que me desesperara. Fue entonces que otro agente me dijo, señora, siéntese que le vamos a poner un grillete en el tobillo. Me quedé anonadada. Cuando contesté que eso me parecía injusto, el agente me levantó la voz y me dijo que eso a él no le importaba. Me sentí totalmente humillada. No estaban respetando ni siquiera las reglas que me habían impuesto y tampoco me las explicaron. Otro agente dijo, señora, no se enoje. Yo le dije que no estaba enojada, que estaba indignada. Ese agente me dijo que me sacarían el grillete en el próximo check-in y como quitándole importancia me dijo que no me preocupara, que eso sería en menos de un mes. Como si 15 días con un grillete en el tobillo, las 24 horas del día no fueran una eternidad. Pero pasaron 2 semanas y ISAP no cumplió su palabra.
Due to an error that I believe was not mine but theirs, I'm wearing this shackle. Since that day, I've been losing heart and in low spirits. I spent about 15 days in depression. It is not easy to go about life normally, always in fear that in any moment this can beep.
Por lo consiguiente, a causa de un error que creo que no es mío, sino que de ellos, me encuentro llevando este grillete. Desde ese día me siento totalmente desanimada, deprimida, amargada. Estuve como 15 días con depresión. No es fácil caminar con normalidad. Siempre andas con temor de que en cualquier momento pueda sonar.
To me, it is humiliating. I have always been a friendly person, but now I feel totally different. I have lost the desire to make friends just to avoid people seeing me as if I was a delinquent. I would like to do so many good things, volunteer, work, contribute to the community. I believe a person could make herself more useful without that shackle, because she would be able to add positively to society. This mere object, which they do not see as anything of relevance, can cause negative emotional effects that can affect a person's well-being.
Para mí es humillante. Siempre he sido una persona sociable y ahora me siento totalmente diferente. No quiero hacer amigos para que no tengan que verme con esto y luego verme a mí como si fuera una delincuente. Yo lo que quisiera hacer es tantas cosas buenas, trabajar, participar como voluntaria, contribuir a la comunidad. Creo que una persona es más útil sin el grillete, ya que se puede contribuir de manera positiva a la sociedad. Pero un simple aparato que para ellos no es nada, puede causar en una persona un efecto emocionalmente negativo y por consiguiente llegar a afectar la salud.
Finally, they said that they will take this shackle off today. I'm very happy. I had tried twice to appeal to ISAP's consideration, pleading with them to take it off. A week ago, thanks to the kind help of SADA and New Sanctuary Coalition, I went to ISAP accompanied by Father Fabian as a religious leader and witness. At that moment, ISAP only had evasive answers, but it seems that a week later, these efforts proved fruitful. I feel now as if coming out of a prison. I felt free just learning they were going to take it off, as they told me this past Wednesday. This brings me back hope of recovering that sense of myself that can help me continue working, staying here, feeling free and in fullness.
Por fin me dijeron que hoy viernes me sacarían el grillete. Estoy muy contenta. Yo había intentado en 2 ocasiones sin éxito apelar a su consideración, pidiendo que me lo retirasen. Hace una semana, gracias a la buena ayuda de Sara y del nuevo santuario, fui allí con el padre Fabián como líder religioso y testigo interpelador. En ese momento ISAP solo me dio respuestas evasivas, pero parece que una semana después ese esfuerzo está dando su fruto. Siento como si se saliera de una prisión. Me sentí libre con solo saberlo, cuando me dijeron esto el miércoles pasado. Esto me devuelve la esperanza de recuperar ese sentido de mí misma que me ayuda a seguir trabajando para poder estar aquí en plenitud y libertad.
Finally, this from Maximiliano. I was released on bail from the Elizabeth, New Jersey Detention Center in April 2017. I had to pay $4,000 in bail, 20% of $20,000, and also to sign an agreement, a contract to get the Libre ankle monitor. I pay $420 every first of the month. I need to recharge the battery for up to 2 hours every day. I have a medical condition, I have high cholesterol, and I also had open heart surgery.
Este testimonio es de Maximiliano. Salí libre bajo fianza del centro de detención de Elizabeth en abril del 2017. Tuve que pagar $4,000 de fianza, el 20% de una fianza de $20,000, y también tuve que firmar un contrato para ponerme el monitor de tobillo libre. Tengo que pagar $420 cada primer día del mes para usar este monitor. Tengo que recargar la batería por hasta 2 horas cada día. Yo sufro de una condición médica, tengo colesterol alto y también tuve una cirugía a corazón abierto.
I am under a lot of stress because of this monitor. My hands get swollen, I have chest pain, it is difficult to breathe. Because of this ankle monitor, I have lost many job opportunities. I have also been fired because of the ankle monitor. My friends are abandoning me. People think I'm a criminal. I have lost too many precious things because of this. Having this monitor is like being in prison.
Estoy bajo mucha tensión debido a este monitor. Se me hinchan las manos, tengo dolor en el pecho y se me hace difícil respirar. Por culpa del grillete he perdido muchas oportunidades de trabajo. También me han despedido de varios trabajos por llevar este grillete. Los amigos lo abandonan a uno. La gente piensa que uno es un criminal. He perdido muchas cosas preciosas debido a esto. Tener este monitor es como seguir en la cárcel.
Welcome to 30 Frames a Second. As you know, I'm your host, Greg Lassiter. Today we're going to talk about the Donald Trump's immigration policy. As you can see, it is a hot mess, and it is ridiculous. And today is also known as Juneteenth.
Whoa, they saw my face in there, so they know I'm here.
Nat, well, I want to let everybody know Nat Wood is here. Nat, welcome to the show. There's a lot of things going on. 153 years ago today, Juneteenth was considered a holiday.
Well, no, it was considered. I gotta get
Freedom
this
Day.
on. I gotta get this on. She'll cut to me since she don't give a rat's butt about my personal problems. Juneteenth. Today is June 19th.
June 19th. Juneteenth.
And I'm deaf in one ear.
Okay. Let me hit you.
Yeah. Make my knee pop. There's a lot of things going on.
Right.
With Jeffrey Beauregard
Sessions.
hillbilly ass from Alabama Sessions. But today is June 19th. Now,
Right.
June 19th is historically significant. It's historically significant to all Americans, not just the black Americans, because everything is related to June 19th that pertains to the American Civil War.
That's correct.
The Dred Scott decision, the Missouri Compromise, all of those things are related. All of those things directly led to the Civil War.
That's correct.
The American Civil War.
And today was the announcement of the abolition of slavery.
No. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. But actually, it was 2.5 years late.
Late, right, because the Emancipation Proclamation was signed somewhere around September of 1862.
It was right,
September.
1862.
But it didn't go into
and
effect.
it was supposed to go into effect January 1st,
1863. Right, but it didn't actually go into effect until June 19th.
Well, the crackers didn't tell y'all. It was in effect as soon as the President of the United States signed it.
But it didn't trickle down.
No, they refused to tell you because they had not, the southern states had not acquiesced to the will of the Union.
Right.
I referred to the Missouri Compromise and the Dred Scott decision leading up to the Civil War.
Right.
Now, what that is, there were 11 slave-owning states and 11 free states.
Right, and one of them was the Kentucky, Maryland, Delaware. They were free states.
Correct.
The Kentucky, Delaware, Missouri.
Well, no, Missouri was the one trying to get in.
Oh, yeah, Virginia.
Right.
Virginia was one of them.
Right. Missouri was trying to get in, but Missouri wanted to get in as a slave-owning state.
Right.
That would have changed the balance of power, the balance of political power, because you would then have 12 slave-owning states and 11 free states.
Right, so that means the 12 wins.
Correct.
Right.
So a compromise was drawn up by Abe Lincoln. He said, we'll let Missouri in as a slave state, but there are certain territories in Missouri that could not be slave territories.
Right.
And we'll bring in one more free state that would make it 12 slave states, 12 free states.
Right.
The Dred Scott decision was a decision in Missouri.
Right.
And it was about Missouri. And Judge Taney was the one who handed down the verdict that no black had any right that a white was bound to respect.
Right, which was crazy.
It showed the personal bent of the Supreme Court in maintaining an ungodly law.
Right.
It also showed the southern states' contempt of any edict by the Union and Abraham Lincoln, because not only did they do this in complete disdain for black people,
right,
But they also did this in utter disdain for the President of the United States and the power of the presidency.
Right. So which is, but look at today. You look at those very states that wanted to keep slavery in effect.
Right.
You look at places like Alabama, Mississippi,
Right.
Tennessee, some parts of Tennessee,
Missouri. Right. There were 3 states that
Georgia.
was kind of exempt from stuff. That was Texas. Texas was a strange stuff.
Yeah, but Texas is a border state too.
It was also a state that wasn't contesting the edict of the North, of the Union.
Of the Union, right.
Virginia was some sort of strange commonwealth.
Right, the southeast of, well, Virginia is a commonwealth state.
Correct,
Right.
correct.
Then you got the southeast. The vast difference is, Virginia is still broken up today. You got Northern Virginia, which is right outside of D.C., and then you got southeast Virginia, which is rural.
Right.
Which is like night and day.
All of this, like I said, has a direct bearing on a lot of things that we're arguing about today.
That's right.
We argue about the role of the Supreme Court, but we see the Supreme Court is fickle and finicky, and is comprised mainly of white supremacist ideology.
Right. Even with the black man.
Even with the black man
on there, right?
Just because you're black doesn't mean that you can't walk lockstep with white supremacy.
Right. But that's idiotic, though, Nat. You know that, right?
But remember last week when we showed the clip, when we showed the clip of the policeman beating the guy waiting on the elevator.
Right, hitting the guy, the black guy.
Right. It's the black guy who was like leading in the middle of it. The biggest, blackest, meanest cat was leaning into this.
He was leading the pack.
Correct. He was leading the pack.
Just like Clarence Thomas in the Supreme Court.
Correct. So just because you're black doesn't mean that you can be a prominent soldier for white supremacy.
But my thing is, what is the mindset of supposedly intelligent people like that? Because think about this, though. Clarence Thomas came up the hard way.
Yeah.
It was because of he was the enforcer of the government's EEOC.
Right.
It was because of him he got his job because of that. He ran that. So what was it? What is his thinking? You came through the system of prejudice, racist, and you were in power to change it. Now you got your higher power.
I don't know if you're empowered to change it or you're empowered to change your own personal circumstance. And if you're in power, a lot of it has less to do with
people.
Correct.
And a lot to do with personal.
Correct. And that's why I disagree with those who say that the key to a lot of the problems that oppress us and hold us back is simply voting and electing black people, because that doesn't speak to your motivation for getting the job.
That's exactly right.
And if your motivation is not for the people that you serve, if it's just self-serving,
then it doesn't. You're no better. You're no different than a white supremacist.
You're actually worse because you think you're better.
Right.
Because you think you're better off, which makes you worse.
But then let's go back to this. Why is it that we as a people...
That goes back to your beef with your man in Harlem.
He's talking about Charlie Rangel. That's exactly right.
Basically, that's the observation of... different people have different observations as it relates to Charlie Rangel.
But you're absolutely right. But tell me this. Okay, we see that as that he is self-sufficient, self-serving. Self-serving, not self-sufficient, self-serving. Yeah. Why do we as black people, brown people, 40 years plus, keep voting the same person?
Well, There's a saying that when it comes to gambling in Las Vegas, they say house always wins. However, you gotta let the suckers win sometimes, otherwise they'll never bet. Now.
But you know how I feel about that this year.
But when you talk about local politics,
right?
Even when you talk about national politics, but even more so when you talk about local politics, a small group of people do all the voting all the time.
That's right. That's right. You're right. Absolutely right about that.
Yeah.
They live to vote.
Correct.
They live to vote.
And nobody else participates. And nobody else, not only don't they participate, but even when they participate, it's not as an informed body.
Right. That's exactly that perfect. You absolutely. I couldn't say it any better. It's asinine, though.
Right.
It's asinine.
Right. But that's the key to Trump. You only need to get your people in key places to maintain your base of power. He took the New York blueprint and he slapped the little girl from Arkansas who thought she was from New York. Right. But he took the New York blueprint.
Now, you know what when I put that down and all the stuff that's going on, the new hashtag is Make America Smart Again.
Hey, that's the most important hashtag of them all.
Make America Smart Again.
Because we're held in place by our own ignorance and our own reluctance to learn.
I don't understand that, though, because if we look at the consensus or the census of the people that voted Trump in,
right,
white males,
right,
with the the lowest income bracket in the country,
right,
and women,
right.
He's a misogynist pig.
White women,
absolutely white women. But he serves no purpose for them. Or they serve no. They think he's going to look back and help them.
No. They think that he is going to maintain white supremacy and the natural order.
Yes, and they would sacrifice their own life.
Anything.
They'd rather be poor.
Anything.
They'd rather be poor and broke.
It was poor, broke white people who fought the Civil War.
Right.
Not rich white people.
But wait, they'd rather stay poor.
Rich white people didn't fight for the Union or the Confederacy.
No, I know.
Rich white people bought their way out.
Right.
Poor people, the only people who had a vested interest in improving their lives was black people, the slaves themselves.
Right.
For the white people who fought, it was lose-lose. You was a broke ass going in, you was a broke ass coming out.
But that's an interesting dynamic, though, Nat, if you think about it. You know, black people fought to get out of poverty.
Right.
The brown people,
out of slavery.
And in the 60s, we fought to get out of our situation, to be created equal.
Correct. To make our situation better, to become full citizens.
Right. But you see, the poor white, they rather stay where they are.
Correct.
And be poor.
Correct.
Then
give up white supremacy. Then give up this perception that they are. But they always come up with some chosen race. They always come up with this stuff. The very concept of race was a construct created specifically to justify slavery.
Right.
It didn't exist before.
No, you're right.
Slavery.
Right.
And Carl von Linnaeus.
But here's the thing: the poor white today are worse. They're worse off now than they were during the Obama administration.
But they was always worse off. They was worse. Poor whites have never had a pot to piss in.
And a window to throw it out.
Long before there was in America, before in France, all through those European marauder years.
Right.
We refer to the Magna Carta and a man's home is his castle.
Right.
That was for feudal lords.
Right, that wasn't for poor people.
Right. Poor people got executed if they got caught eating the king's deer meat or something. They had to go out in the field and catch rats and stuff to eat.
But think about this though. See, that's why I say, look, there are more smart people who I want to believe there are more smart people that know better than there are that don't know better. Because I look at why Donald Trump got elected. He got elected for the poor white male and a white female.
See, one of the biggest things is, and a lot of it has to do with our programming. Our programming is the same as poor white folks' programming.
It really is. The thought process is.
Right. And I'll tell you something else that's going to put a B in a lot of folks' drawers. A lot of the programming has to do with religion.
Right. I'm glad we were going to go to that. Right.
God made me king. The whole pecking order of the estates. The first estate is the religious estate.
Right.
It's the Catholic Church that sponsored the discovery of America.
That's right. It's a business. It's a corporation.
Correct.
Right.
The Catholic Church controlled all of Europe.
That's exactly right.
They control France.
Still.
It still does. And the pecking order, the acquiescence to the pecking order that has been able to literally enslave people all over the world is an edict that comes directly from the church. You need the Pope to sanction your
But here's the thing,
validity.
though. If you believe in the Bible, or like say your religious belief, right? If you look at the Bible, the Old Testament, the New Testament, the New International Version.
Right.
Look at all that.
Right. They changed the words, but a little so people can understand
God
it.
Said,
but it's basically the same
God said,
thing.
"Put no man before me."
There's a lot of things in the Bible written by a lot of people, and a lot of it is just goofy.
It says that in all the Bibles, okay?
Yes.
Now, if that's in fact true, Nat, why is the Catholic people believing in the Pope? How is it the Pope can give you absolution, or some man can give you absolution for all the sins that you've done?
You don't believe in, nobody believes in the Bible. Nobody. In order to believe in the Bible, you'd have to have the Bible all by itself, read it with no help from anybody or anything.
Right.
First of all, you have to read it, then you have to interpret it.
Right.
And your best interpreter is generally your pastor or your priest or most people believe in ideologies, church ideologies.
Right, which I think is bullshit.
Well, it kind of is.
Right.
It kind of is because it directs first of all, it directs your interpretation of the Bible. Then it directs what you're supposed to do about that interpretation.
Right.
And it directly relates to all of these different church bodies.
Right.
Come from different places and different things and different reasons. Right. So it's very difficult to believe in the Bible. You believe in the Bible as it relates to your
religion, your church,
your ideology, your
which
church.
I think. Like the Bible
Catholic ain't no damn Baptist.
Right.
And, Baptist is not Episcopalian.
Right.
I mean,
or Lutheran.
Right. They all have like nuanced.
But the premises, but the basic premises supposed to be the same. Bible, Bible, is an acronym.
What's in
it's an acronym? Basic instructions before leaving Earth. That's what Bible stands for.
That's very nice.
You didn't know that? A lot of people. I asked a lot of pastors that. Because if you think about it.
I thought the B was for bull. I didn't know what the...
Basic instructions before leaving Earth. Now, if that's the case, which if you look at it, that's supposed to be the case. It's supposed to tell you how to get to the high, to heaven.
One of the problems was, even if you believe in the problem, in the Bible,
right?
One of the major problems of, even if you don't have any help from a church, you know, and the boss of all bosses, the church of all churches, the church that all of these little churches stem from, I shouldn't say little, y'all get mad at that, is Catholicism.
Catholicism, right.
And the Holy Roman Empire.
That's exactly right. It's a corporation.
Right.
Has its own currency, has its own laws.
Right,
But
it's more than a corporation because corporations
empire.
have to. Yes, it's empire, and it's called Holy Roman Empire.
Right, that's right.
Queen Isabella, who sponsored Columbus, to this day is known as the defender of the Holy Roman Empire.
Right.
One of the conditions, she put a ribbon on the Spanish Inquisition, and one of her demands from the church was that her son, I believe his name was Charles,
right,
be named as Holy Roman Empire.
Yeah, right. But my thing is this: if you look at it, you grew up Catholic.
Yeah.
If you look at it, if you look at Catholicism, it's bullshit.
Yes, but
you know what? I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for it, but I'm telling you, if you are a God-fearing person and you say, God, you believe in the Word, don't put no man before me. That's in the Bible.
See,
How can man give you absolution?
well, first of all, it presupposes that you've done something, and that a man has the power to
But it doesn't make
forgive.
sense.
But that's
But that
easy.
doesn't make
That's
sense,
easy.
though, now.
It does make sense.
How does that make sense? If God said,
Because you say the Pope is God.
but the Pope is not God, he's a man like me and you.
But that's not what you're taught. That's not what you're indoctrinated to believe.
But people
from birth.
If you're Catholic.
Yeah, well,
Because
everybody was Catholic.
But the Pope means nothing. No disrespect to anybody's religion, but the Pope means nothing to me.
Yes, you're sitting here with your jet planes in the year 2018. So yes, the world is a little different for you. The world is a little different for a lot of people.
Right.
Because there were schisms in the church. There was Martin Luther and those guys basically arguing about money and absolution. It wasn't that Protestants were kinder. If anything, those guys, Martin Luther, were harder.
Right. But my thing is not. Okay,
Pope Leo was selling absolutions.
But
if you had enough money, you could buy your way out of purgatory. But that's what it was. That's what it
still is today, though.
The church needed money. The church needed money. And Leo found a way to get more money by selling absolutions to the super rich, because everybody has to go through purgatory. There was a kind of, first of all, the Catholic Church ruled by fear.
Right.
Fear of eternal damnation and burning. Not just damnation, but
you burn forever.
You wasn't just going to live in the ghetto. You were going to burn without
eternity.
end. And the concept of that is terrifying.
Right.
But everything about the Catholic Church was about burning.
But let me ask you this. It's still working. That ideology is still today.
The more things change, the more they don't change at all.
Right.
And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to segue from what is going on in immigration to a lot of the things that is happening to black folks, especially on Juneteenth.
Right.
A lot of people won't make the correlation, but here's the correlation. We saw the young man, Danny. He opened up, and he talked about his mother. His mother, Aura, she's in another church in Sanctuary because they want to deport her. Danny is an American citizen.
Right.
They're both from Guatemala, just like I forget who it was we showed. I forget her name.
The one that was in the church too as well.
Correct, correct.
Right.
Also from Guatemala.
Right, right. She was in the church up in Washington Heights.
Correct, Holyrood.
Right.
Guatemala is like a gang state.
Right, total gang state.
It's a total gang state.
Honduras, Guatemala, all those little countries down in there.
Right, and it's vicious. Is vicious gangs like in Africa, in South Africa. I mean, very, very vicious gangs that rape women and force young children, young boys
into the army,
into basically their army.
Yeah, right.
So in a lot of ways, Guatemalans are doing exactly what blacks say they're trying to do.
Right.
They're trying to escape their hood.
Right.
They're trying to provide a better life for their children. If you look at black people in the United States, you realize that there's some 200. I mean, there's over 2 million black folks in jail, and a lot of those are children.
Children, yeah, right.
Children.
Right.
They talk about 12,000 children being detained at the border.
Right. Separated from their parents.
But we don't know how many that is because
where did you get that number from?
Well, first of all, the number does not tell you the truth,
right?
Because it does not consider all kids under the age of 10,
right?
And the girls,
right?
Where the hell are the girls,
right?
And where the hell are kids under the age of 10, and how many are there?
Right. Well, you got. Well, what about infants?
Correct. Nobody. They won't tell anybody where they're being held. Or how many there are, and they won't give access to them.
And the thing of it is, the media won't call out Donald Trump.
They're calling him out. There's not one media anymore. There's a racist Beauregard Sessions
and he's
Fox News
what happened
media,
to separation between church and state? Because he violated that by bringing the Bible in the government.
There used to be what was known as four estates, and this was a phrase coined by the King of France, Louis the something or another. And the fourth estate was, the first estate was the church.
Yep.
The second estate was the royals.
Right.
And the royal family.
Right.
The third estate was the people who had money.
Right. The rich. Basically,
no, it was actually three estates.
Three estates, right.
So the rich was the royals was the second estate.
Right.
The third estate was the masses of people.
Right.
And then there came later on, much later, in modern times, what was referred to as the fourth estate. The fourth estate was the press.
Right.
The power of the press. So you had three estates. You had the church. You had the rich people, and then you had the masses of people, which was the third estate, and they said the fourth estate was the press. Well, now in modern times, the roles of the estates have varied.
Right.
There is one true first estate. Right. That's the multinational. Well, no, the church is part of the multinational estate.
Okay, I see what you're going to say. I see where you're going with that, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
And they found a way to make the fourth estate, the press, part of the multinational corporate estate. So basically, the corporate estate, the banking estate, is the controlling estate, and everyone else finds a place in that estate somewhere.
But you know what? Everything Trump has said about there is no policy when it comes to children. There's no law.
No. It's policy.
It's a policy, right?
And it's his policy.
Right. So all he has to do is pick up the phone.
Yeah.
And say stop.
Yeah.
He refuses to do that. Blame it on the Democrats.
Well, it's not the Democrats though, because
no, it's still not the Democrats.
The vast majority of Americans think that this is a horrible thing to do. However, there's numbers within numbers.
Good point.
And
There we go.
and
You're kind of
and-
smart for
Well, I have
for a
my
light-skinned
moments.
fella.
I know. Go figure. Go figure. Well, when you put us out, we sat around and read. We didn't have to read as much in the old days because we were hot. But now the girls all like the black guys, so we read more. But there are numbers within numbers.
Right.
And like I said, the vast majority, 66% of Americans, think that this is a horrible thing to do. It's completely immoral.
Yeah. Right.
But that's not the numbers within the Republican Party and Trump's base.
Right. Explain that to them, please. Because most people don't get that.
Yeah. Within Trump's base, 55% of Trump's base says this is cool, and only 35% of his base says they don't like it. It's bad.
Right.
So by a wide majority, his peeps say this is the cool thing to do.
Right. And that's the Republicans.
That's the Republicans.
And they can see.
The Republicans are in a sticky wicket because actually they don't represent Trump's base, but Trump's base is so powerful that they got to pretend like they do and acquiesce.
But see, if
Trump's
you
base is crackers.
But look, all you need is 5 Republicans.
But they're not going against Trump's army. Trump's army
they need 5 Republicans.
They used to rule Trump's army. Now they have to.
But they don't. They think they do.
They have to genuflect to Trump and his army now. They used to be the ones who convinced the rest of the world that they were the next generation of Dixiecrats.
Right.
They were Dixiecrats in $2,000 suits.
Right.
$10,000 suits.
Look at metaphor.
Right. Tailor-made $10,000 suits.
Right.
And here comes Trump, this Illuminati from New York.
Right.
And now he convinces them.
Illuminati wannabe. Okay. Because I don't think he's the 1% that controls 99%. I really don't.
But he controls 39%.
You might have a point. You might have a point there.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's all he needs to do.
Right.
Everything he does is right out of a New York textbook.
Yeah, but it's just so true that you look at it because he's played the New York politics. New York politics is played that way.
Right.
In order
exactly
to get
that way.
Because you look at what Giuliani when he was mayor.
Right.
He was the epitome, the epitome.
Correct.
Of how to play.
Correct.
In order to be mayor
Correct.
in New York City, you have to get in bed with the real estate people.
Right.
With the real estate people.
Right.
Because once you're in with them.
Right. And the masses of people are either convinced that they have no power.
Right. Which is asinine.
Which is asinine. They have all the power.
Right.
But all the power is based in the fact that they believe they have no power.
Right.
So
it's an illusion what Donald Trump and what people, and he's playing right into it.
What you think is reality is reality.
But they're playing right into it.
Correct.
Because here's the thing. We have the masses have the power, but the people behind the power have given you this illusion that you don't have the power.
Right, that you can't fight City Hall.
But you can't.
So they don't try.
They just give up?
They just surrender all rights completely.
That is right. That's how Donald Trump has played on a national level.
Right. And the only ones who actually fight this thing are generally like old people.
Right.
And if you can get that's the I forget the woman's name who's going up against Cuomo.
Nixon.
Nixon,
Yeah,
Cynthia Nixon.
Cynthia Nixon. Yeah.
She understands how much power there is in black women,
Right.
especially
Right.
elderly black women,
Right.
older black women, because they will vote.
And not only that, she got the elderly black, she got the young black, and she's a lesbian.
Right. remember, if not for older black women,
Right.
Roy Moore would have gotten elected.
Right, that's true. He would have been in Washington.
Right. That is why the Republican Party is focusing so hard on making voting impossible
Right.
for specifically people whose movements are restricted
Right, right.
and who are black.
Right, and that's crazy. And that, you know what, the
well,
majority
that's
of that.
smart.
But
That's
the,
smart.
But the majority of that is the southern states.
That is correct.
That's the southern
That
states.
is correct.
And that is insane. But the black people don't see that.
Well, the white people do, because they've already separated the strong from the weak.
That's right.
And they have already ascertained that the strength is in the black woman and the older black woman.
Right.
And that young blacks, young black males, young
Listen.
black females are powerless and easy to manipulate. So they don't even worry about doing anything.
Well, they don't
to
worry
them.
about the young black males because they're trying to send them to jail.
They're all in jail.
Right.
And when they get out, they have no power because
Right.
all they want to do is get a job or do pull-ups on a damn stop
Wait.
sign somewhere. But they have no.
Stop.
Well, I'm telling you the truth.
Right,
I mean,
it's
it
true.
sounds harsh.
Right, it does, but it's
you
the
know,
truth.
But it's the truth. And if young black people were more politically astute,
Right.
if they understood the world they lived in
Right.
far better, they would be in prison a lot less. They would have a lot more control, power and control over their circumstances. And we wouldn't be having a mass exodus to South Carolina.
But that was just crazy.
Back
where we came from.
Right, back to sharecropping.
And that's exactly what's happening.
And white folks know this. I mean, they know they've already made these determinations and have already formulated a plan for dealing with certain threats.
Right.
Black males, they just beat the hell out of them,
Right.
shoot them in the
And kill
street, they'll kill them, throw them in
in
jail, and they ain't never gonna do nothing about
Right.
it. They just gonna go in jail, hate each other, call each other a bunch of niggas on
right.
record,
And
you know,
it's a vicious
beat
cycle.
each other to death.
Yeah.
Right. So they've already ascertained that this is not a threat
threat
to
to us.
them.
The black woman.
Right.
The black
They're
woman
more
is
of
a
a
threat.
threat to each other than they are to
Right,
us.
right.
And we can control them in a number of ways, and they'll never get it.
Right.
The black woman, the elderly, the older black woman is far more, first of all, she's far more rooted in terms of her own identity
Right.
and her own place, and she's far more knowledgeable about what you can do if you stick together and vote. So they're a lot more likely to be the ones who vote. They're a lot more likely to be the ones who control community. They're a lot more likely to control family. If you eliminate their power, you neuter the race.
So your prediction about the black male? Are we a lost cause?
We're a couple of generations from making ourselves right again.
We're at least 4.
Okay. I won't even quibble.
But we need to make ourselves right again.
Oh, yeah.
Because extinct, we're not even, they protect extinct. People protect the extinct. We're not even extinct anymore.
Well, they protect extinct plants and animals. I don't think they think of us either a plant or an animal.
Some may think of us as an animal.
No,
You know?
I don't think if they thought of us as an animal, they'd treat us better.
Yeah, right. You got a point. You got a point. Here's my prediction for the Trump administration. Mueller's investigation is coming to an end. He's going to indict Donald Trump Jr. And he's going to indict his Kushner. And they're going to look at jail time. And Congress, Senator, they're going to come to Donald Trump. Either you resign or they're going to jail. What do you think he's going to do?
Pardon him. Tell Congress to kiss his ass and pardon them all. Donald Trump has a God complex, and he does not accept the role of the presidency as it has traditionally been defined. He thinks of himself as a king, and he has a lot of goofy cat. Well, yeah. He's a fascist dictator.
Because
the people loved Hitler. I know y'all ain't gonna like this, but the people loved his ass.
Yeah, but it's true.
You know,
and he had massive.
And he's made references. He said some stuff about the space program and being separate but equal. I mean, Jeff Sessions has said some little redneck stuff. And oh, good. In the Bible, we got just enough time for me to read something from the Bible since Jeff Sessions
right, there you go. There, read it.
yeah. Jeff Sessions is talking about quoting the Bible. So I want to show you how strange the Bible is. So I'm gonna read something from Leviticus, and this is supposed to be what God said, basically as it pertains to the election of priests.
Right.
If any man's wife go aside and commit a trespass,
Go next page. Next page.
Yeah. We're running out of time. I gotta do this quick.
It's on the next page.
Oh, okay. Is this one?
Yeah.
Speak to the priests, the sons of Aaron.
It's all there.
Okay. I want to get to the part about your nuts and
Is it at the bottom of the first page?
And midgets. Okay. And the Lord said to Moses, say to Aaron, for generations to come, none of your descendants who has a defect may come near to offer the food of his God. That's like a priest.
Right.
No man who has any defect may come near. No man who is blind or lame, disfigured or deformed. No man with a crippled foot or hand, who's a hunchback or a dwarf. Jeff Sessions, you dwarf. Or who has an eye defect, or who has a festering or running sores or damaged testicles. None of these people God thinks of as clean. Jeff Sessions, you are a dwarf. Your God does not think you're clean. So,
we gotta go. We gotta read.
That comes from the Bible. And I got a lot of little quotes that
Listen,
we gotta
guys,
go.
I thank you guys for watching us. Remember this, we're here every week.
Say
we give it
peace.
to you live. Peace, we're out. Remember, shoot for the moon. If you miss, you're still among the stars.
Yeah.
What he said. Great show.
Oh, yeah. Wow, I'm awful red.
Dilo en español y listo.
Lo logramos. Yo logré quitar el mío hoy. Gracias a su apoyo incondicional, gracias al santuario. Les agradezco infinitamente. De verdad, gracias.
She's Mary. We just read her testimony at the fountain, and she just wants to say thank you to everyone because she just got her shackle off her ankle.
We came together, we're going to leave together. We came together, we're going to leave together.